point, did you get a chance to watch the Johnny Manziel documentary?
I am not yet.
You gotta watch
I'm the
this.
only one that hasn't.
Well, you got to watch it. It's not great, but the football highlights and the memories of a short time at Texas A&M are kind of interesting. And it blew me away that, and maybe I should have known this already, like that kid literally did not really look at a playbook. Now, I think they were probably overplaying it a little bit, but he just, at Texas A&M, he was able to just do instinctual backyard, whatever, playground football and succeed. And I'm like, could that happen now? Is there that much of a difference between the NFL and college where a guy can be an uber athlete at a position like that? And he's just like, I don't need the playbook. Frankly, I don't even need to be sober that soon before the game. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, I can't believe it's been 10 plus years
Crazy.
ago already.
Yep.
I think the game has changed though. You don't see too much of that. Obviously he's more of a unicorn the way he played, but I don't expect to see too much of that. I mean, the minute differences between teams, a lot of it's in the preparation, right? More than anything. I mean, because everyone's got guys that can run in space. Everybody has, an athletic quarterback at that time. The best program, Alabama, a team that he beat and almost beat, 2 consecutive years. I mean, they still had the game manager at quarterback. Alabama doesn't have that necessarily now. So I would just say the game's changing. I'm not sure that at Johnny's size that you can have someone like that. Kudos for him. He was able to pull it off. But in the end, I would say, it caught up with him. I'll put it that way.
I want to ask you about something that you tweeted about maybe a week ago, but it's fresh to me. The NCAA denying some transfers is a travesty, is what you said. Can you tell me who these players are and who they denied transfers to? Because anytime there's a moment to bash on the NCAA, I'm all for it.
Yeah, a couple of ones off the top of my head. Number one, the North Carolina kid, the wide receiver, is going to be their top wide receiver. He's transferred a couple of times, but, extenuating circumstances each time. This last transfer from Kent State to North Carolina, there's a coaching change. He's on his last year of eligibility. He gets denied. Another one, the quarterback for Colorado basically is cut. He even brought it up. He's basically cut in the very first, Deion comes in there and first meeting with the team basically says that, he's got his future quarterback. So this kid transfers to Miami, Ohio, and he gets denied. There's some, family needs for some players. They're moving closer to home to be with an ailing mother or grandmother. They're getting denied. I don't get it. I really don't. Again, there's not some set precedent when it comes to the NCAA. If they were always like this, then fine. I guess you just got to roll with it. But I thought they were a lot more lax with the transfer portal, at least the prior seasons than what they've been here, at least in the last month with their rulings.
When it comes to Deion, where everybody is looking at Colorado, you see the reports, oh, man, Shedeur hasn't thrown an interception all throughout camp. And it's like, well, what does that really matter? Is the defense that bad? Would it be smart to just go ahead and take the under whatever the win total is for them?
Price always matters. But it's been sitting right around 3.5 for the majority of the summer. There were some early numbers that were bet into. I am one of them. I'm happy with those tickets. Right now, do I think they're a great bet, like under 3.5? Even though my numbers call for it, keep in mind, this is, we haven't seen a roster completely overturned in one season. So there's more uncertainty about them than pretty much any team we've seen, in previous college football history. So I'm not willing to run to the window right now. I certainly lean that way under 3.5. But I got to tell you, another thing that's unprecedented is we're getting unprecedented. If you follow them on YouTube, his son has a channel, and you get unprecedented looks at this team as far as watching almost all of their practices.
Yep.
And, I've been watching them. I got to tell you, I do see some pluses. I also see some negatives, but I think Shedeur is better than I expected. That's his son who's the quarterback. I think the wide receiver core is better than expected. So I think the team could surprise some people. And so much that I got my first pro Colorado ticket in pocket. I bet it a few days ago. Westgate was dealing that week 1 game 21.5. I went ahead and took the hook there. I took Colorado plus 21.5.
There you go. I can tell you the number one viewer and probably the most joyful viewer of all of their stuff up online is the TCU coaching staff.
Good point.
Brad,
Yeah,
coaches
good point.
are crazy about getting any edge they can get. So they're watching.
There has to be.
They're
I
watching.
would guarantee if someone on TCU staff, that's all they're doing is they have a staff members probably at this point that are breaking that down, getting the cut ups and getting them to the coaches. So I know Deion said they've hidden some things, but my goodness, what is there to hide? I mean, this completely, we've never seen that kind of access before.
Brad Powers with us, Brad Powers 7 up on Twitter. Great Twitter feed, bradpowersports.com to get all the information on all that he does in terms of his bets and offering you guys all the angles and the edges. Let's go a little hardcore on some numbers. They may have been up for a while, but I haven't seen them. I don't think we discussed them. Some deep dive games. Week 0, LaTech is taking on FIU, and it's a 10.5-point spread with FIU as a dog.
Yeah, I'm going to lean with FIU, especially if you can find that 11. There's one right now at the South Point. That seems to be an off-market number right now. So I would say if you're listening right now, I think that's the right bet to make there. I think 10's a fair number on that one. We've seen a little bit of money come in on the under. LaTech's got a bunch of transfers. I think they're a high-ceiling type team. FIU overachieved last year. I think this year's team's better, but it might not necessarily reflect in record. Conference game. Between two opponents, week 0, I'm always going to trend more towards the dog than the favorite.
What's going to happen with the Miamis? Ohio, and by the way, that was where that's where the cop kid got denied eligibility, right? Miami, Ohio, 17 against Miami, Florida.
Yeah, I think he was running second or third string though,
Okay.
So it shouldn't be something that moves the point spread. At 17, I'm actually going to lean with Miami, Florida here. My numbers have it closer to 18.5, 19, so slight value there. I think Miami's one of the most improved teams in the country this year. How could they not be? They were, borderline pathetic last year. I mean, at least they were relative to expectations. This was a Miami team that covered one game against FBS competition a year ago. So I think routinely a team like that underachieves so much, usually going to get regression. In this case, it's going to be regression towards the positive. Give me the Hurricanes.
This is kind of crazy because the season hasn't started yet, but Hawaii in game number 2 is actually hosting Stanford, getting 8. Would Stanford fall under the heading of an improved team because of a new coaching staff, a new attitude, or what's their roster look like?
The roster stinks, to be quite honest with you. I mean, it's worse than Colorado's, in my opinion. So, I have Stanford power rated lower than Colorado. So, it's a really tough situation. Keep in mind, they can't bring in 50 transfers at a place like Stanford in one off season. So, this is going to be a rebuilding season, to say the least. It's reflected in the win total. It's down to 2.5 in spots. Even reflected in this game. I mean, you mentioned 8. It was 8 a couple days ago. It's mainly painted 7 across town, whether it's, Westgate, South Point, Willie Hill. They're all at 7 right now. So a lot of money on Hawaii. What do you do now with it? I don't think you bet it at 7. You're late to the party. What you do, and this is in the weeds a little bit, is you watch the Hawaii-Vanderbilt game, a week 0 game on that Saturday night, and if there's a book or two, and there will be, that keep that Hawaii-Stanford game up, if there's anything that's, positive or negative in Hawaii's direction, go ahead and react off of that, because I'm here to tell you the market will.
Brad, you're awesome. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Take care, guys.
There he is, Brad Powers.